If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims. Welcome to this week's episode of Zen Success. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with William Hudson. Hi, William.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Where are you connecting from?
We're near Palm Springs, California, in the Southern California desert.
Mm-hmm.
It's been very, very hot. We're waiting for the weather to cool down.
What's the temperature there?
Right now, I think it's in the 90s, but it's been pretty much in the hundreds almost all summer, and it's just barely starting to cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
Crazy. We just got back from Alaska cruise on Sunday, so it was cold up there. So it was a nice change of temperature for us. And
Yeah.
I caught a little bug while I was there, so I may sound a little nasally, and that's why. But
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you feel better.
thank you. I hardly ever get sick. It just makes me so mad that I caught something. I never expected to catch anything on a cruise, but I guess that's a place to catch it, right? If anywhere, it'd be on a cruise.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually from Alaska,
Oh, yeah.
and my grandparents had a hotel in Palm Springs. They had so I used to spend my summers there, which is not really the time to spend in Palm.
Yeah.
You
No,
don't
it's the
spend your
worst.
winters there. But that means I was like living in the swimming pool. I was like in my
Yeah,
bathing suit in the swimming pool, like all the time, you know.
absolutely. Yep. Yeah,
But I
winter's
had
the
good
best time.
memories of it because they let me have like a hotel room. They had one of those like bed and breakfast, like kitchenette
Uh,
places, like
yeah.
it was a small, like one level, yeah, the Desert Inn
Mhm.
hotel. We only had 7 rooms.
That's nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, good memories. Did you ever go up the aerial tramway during the summer?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I I have fond memories of, yes, growing up there, spending winters and summers. Well, I'd like to share a little bit about William. William, a stage 4 cancer survivor, is the author of the best-selling book, Death Can Wait: How I Beat Stage 4 Cancer Naturally. William is a retired IT professional in higher education and graduated magna cum laude from Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, earning a Bachelor's of Science degree in business administration. Now in retirement and living in beautiful Southern California desert, William fulfills his lifelong dream of writing and sharing his experiences and knowledge through the written word. And I'm so happy to connect with you. And I'm also a cancer survivor. We have so much in common. Palm
Yes, we do.
Springs, Alaska.
Yeah. And unfortunately, cancer.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a survivor. We probably have a lot.
Yes. And I also treated it naturally. So
Oh, good.
I feel like God, if you believe in God, put me in your path to inspire
Hmm.
me
Oh,
to
good.
write a book about it.
Well, you should. Yeah. Yeah, you should. It was hard. It was my first book, but you just have to start doing it. You got to start from one and just take one step after another, and before you know it, it's the bestseller on Amazon.
Yeah, and I've written books before and bestsellers. So
Okay, so
I've
you know,
gotten over the hump. I know I
yeah,
can do it.
absolutely,
It's just this topic,
yeah,
this topic. It's like, here you are, you're in my presence, and I'd love to hear your journey. Tell me what you were doing for work and your personal life when you first heard your diagnosis.
yeah. Well, I like to say I was just living life like any ordinary person was when the diagnosis came. I was working at the University of Redlands. I spent most of my career in higher education working in IT related jobs.
Okay.
And I was, I'm married. My husband and I live here together in near Palm Springs, and um, on weekends, I'd like in the summers and the weekends, I'd go up to Palm Springs aerial tramway, like we just talked about, to beat the summer heat. And we have two dogs and two cats and some koi fish, and we try to enjoy ourselves just like any other people would. I didn't have any. I wasn't some sort of. I'm not I'm not a dynamic speaker or anything. I actually don't like speaking to the public, to be honest with you, but I want to make sure my message can get out there about what I did to beat cancer because I feel like that's my obligation. I feel like the universe wants me to share my story so I can help other people. But
Yes.
I was working at the university and it was just a regular checkup with my doctor. And I forget why he wanted to do a CT scan. There was some anomaly in my blood work or something. I can't even remember what it was. It was 6.5 years ago now. And he wanted to do a CAT scan, and they found something on my lower right lung that was suspicious. And so we ended up doing a biopsy, and the biopsy confirmed that it was stage 4 metastatic melanoma. And so my doctors immediately, I didn't know what to do. I was in shock. I I was the last person I thought would ever get cancer because I was so healthy. I was vegan already. I was practicing yoga and meditation,
Oh.
hiking, and all these things that I thought, wow. And I never ever thought I would get cancer because I used to be judgmental of other people who got.
That was
Yeah.
me too. I was so healthy. I mean, I thought I was healthy, but I could have been healthier.
Yeah.
I found
Right.
out later. But
Yeah.
but were you a Reiki master too at that point?
Yes, yes. I didn't put that in my bio
Oh,
because I'm not practicing, but I was trained. Yeah, I'm trained as a Reiki master. That was over 10 years ago now. Uh,
incredible.
yeah, so I've always believed in, the power of healing energy.
Yes.
Um, I've always felt like I have, healing energy in my own hands. Like
Yes.
I just I've, I've had experience where I've actually seen animals in particular get better after I've worked on them and touched them and brought them back to life in a couple cases with hummingbirds. They would slam into my window and they'd come down and they would be flying, they're dead. And I'd go, oh my God, my heart would just go out. And I'd go out and I'd put them in my little hand and try and give them a little water from a dropper and they would revive. Twice this happened over the last 10 years while I've been here in the desert. So yeah, and I think part of I'm getting off track, but
I know we get distracted because I
uh,
said I brought in the Reiki.
oh yeah, yeah,
But I was talking about your story, and you were saying, I
yeah,
thought I'd never get cancer because you were
yeah,
vegan,
yeah.
spiritual,
And I
all of
was
this stuff.
saying, yeah, and I was saying I was even judgmental of other people who got
Yes.
cancer. I used to think that cancer was caused from having anger in your. I used to think people who had anger issues and had resentment and unresolved issues in their emotional psyche type, energy levels. I thought that caused cancer. And here I was, I'd done all this work in my life. I've done a lot of energy. I'd done a lot of emotional healing and
Yeah.
past, past trauma healing.
Mhm.
I had done so much work. And then to be diagnosed with cancer, it was really surprising to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so what they wanted to do is I like most people, I wanted to listen to my doctors because they're the experts, right? So we had surgery. They scheduled me for surgery to remove the cancer in my lower right lung. We did that. I was scared to death. I didn't know whether I'd survive or come out the other end. So leading up to the surgery was a couple months, I think. I did things like I did um, visualizations. I created a
Mm,
video. Uh,
wonderful.
yeah, I created a video that had all these positive sayings with, happy people exercising and jogging and being healthy and drinking healthy green drinks and things like that. And I watched that every day leading up to my surgery. I think that probably helped a little bit. So
Yeah.
the surgery was successful. And then they wanted to put me on immunotherapy, which is actually a promising mainstream treatment for cancer that's helped a lot.
Hmm.
But I had an autoimmune response to it.
Oh,
My,
okay. So
my,
they were administering it and then you
yeah,
had a negative reaction. But
yeah.
so even with the surgery, they still recommended treatment after.
Yes, because in their experience, stage four metastatic melanoma, once it's spread to another organ in your body, it's most likely going to spread to other parts of your body.
Right.
So
Okay.
they were expecting it to spread to the rest of my body. So they wanted me on immunotherapy to try and prevent the spreading, which they felt was inevitable. It was kind of the way they put it. And so we had to stop because of my autoimmune response. And then at this point, my um, cancer doctor said that I probably had less than 10 months to live if I didn't get any other treatment. And
Mm.
and at this point, we didn't really discuss chemo.
Is that nice now of your doctor?
Yeah, thanks. That's
I'm teasing, but but it's like, come on,
yeah,
it's like you're claiming this for another person's life.
yeah, yeah. It's like, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for
That's true.
so many people just believe it, and then they realize, okay, I'm going to get sick and die, and they get sick and die. And I wasn't about to give up on myself, so I I said, okay, well, that's your opinion, and let's not talk about chemo right now because I have some other ideas I want to look into. And so I was doing, at this point, I was doing my research on alternative treatments, and I had already seen the video series, The Truth About Cancer with Ty and Charlene Bollinger. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
No.
yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, they've been around for years. They do the phenomenal video series on
Okay.
alternative treatments, and they travel all over the world and talk to holistic treatment centers and cancer patients who have survived using alternative treatments. And I had seen one of their videos prior to even being diagnosed because I was
Oh,
interested. I was just
yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
And so I went back and reviewed the transcript from one of those videos that I had seen years earlier. And that was where I got the idea to go to one of the holistic treatment centers that I went to in Mexico, which we can talk more in detail about later if you want to.
Oh, I'd love to. We're gonna
Yeah.
go there. I want
Okay.
to go
We
there.
got lots to talk about
I
here.
want to talk about it and go there now.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, I talk about it in my book.
Okay.
The two. So I did the research and I found two main um, holistic treatments. One is the Holistic Treatment Center, which they administer herbal formulas.
Oh, where is that holistic treatment
It,
center?
it's called the Biomedical Center. It's in Tijuana, Mexico.
Oh, it's in Mexico.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now that's
They
interesting. So do they have anything like that in the US?
well here they have a long story. They have a
Oh,
long
that's a long
story.
story. Okay. Okay,
There's another
cool.
long story. The Biomedical Center in Tijuana, Mexico used to be based out of Texas back in the early last century. And then they had seven treatment centers in seven major cities. They were the largest privately owned cancer treatment center in America, and they were treating and curing thousands of people, famous people, politicians.
Oh my
They had this
God.
thing called the Hoxsey formula, and if people are listening and they Google Hoxsey formula, you're going to see the top things that say, "Oh, it's been debunked," but it hasn't been debunked. It's been
Okay. Oh
around
my
for
gosh, I've never heard of this. I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
happy. And I had cancer too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many things out there, and these are just two that I found. But there are
Okay.
so many. There are so many things. And the Hoxsey formula was inexpensive for one thing.
Yeah.
Tijuana was close enough for me to drive to.
Yeah.
Drove to San
So
Diego, stayed
can
overnight.
we go back to this? So they
Yeah,
were everywhere. Did they get shut down by the
yeah,
medical
yeah,
industry?
yeah. So yes, yes. So there was this whole thing.
Oh.
The American Medical Association and the guy at the time, Harry Hoxsey. It was the formula was passed down through the generations for years and years and years.
Oh, got
It
it.
was discovered back in the late 1800s um,
Oh.
with his grandfather, John Hoxsey, great grandfather, John Hoxsey.
Oh, okay.
He was a horse breeder, and his horses had cancer, and they're always getting ready to shoot the horses and put them out of their misery. When the horses started grazing nearby in some herbal fields, and they got well from eating these herbs. And so he started to experiment with the herbs and put them together and came up with the first iteration of the Hoxsey formula. And it was all first it was for treating horses. And so horse
Right.
breeders from all over the place heard about this and they came to John Hoxsey. And they said,
Oh,
please, I need your formula. And so all these horses started getting well. Meanwhile, the formula was passed down through the generations, and then enter Harry Hoxsey in the early last century, I think it was the 40s and 50s,
mm,
when he had the formula, and he and some of his friends who had cancer begged him to use it on them, on the humans, and
I
so
see.
he wasn't allowed to do that. He didn't have a license to do that, but he started doing it reluctantly. And these people who had incurable cancers started getting well using the Hoxsey formula. And
Oh,
so he did it secretly for a long time. But the word got out because it
okay.
was working and people got well. And so and finally the American Medical Association heard about it, and they didn't like the idea. And so they took him to court, and this went on for years. They eventually opened up all these cancer clinics all across the country.
Wow. So
Oh,
super successful and thriving.
very successful. And it's well documented. There's all kinds of documentation, and there's several books that have been written on the history of it and how it's
Yeah.
been so successful. And finally, the final court case between the American Medical Association and Harry Hoxsey, they proved in court that the formula was effective in treating cancers. It was proven
Okay.
based on all the evidence that was provided in the court
Right.
case. However, that didn't make the American Medical Association happy. So the very next day, the Food and Drug Administration
Oh,
went and shut down all of their clinics based on the fact that I think it was because they were practicing medicine without a license, and they were using a formula that was not approved by the FDA. And that's the same thing goes on today. If it's not on a short list approved by the FDA and the American Medical Association, then doctors aren't allowed to recommend it. And that's what it is. The two things I did are not on that short list, and they're not approved by the American
I
Medical.
see.
So
Oh my God, I'm so glad I learned about this. And thank you
yeah,
for sharing the story. And I know we can do our own research on it, but I
yeah,
appreciate you sharing that background
yeah.
because, yeah, I had heard about another doctor doing research, a PhD, um, about alkalinizing the body
Oh yeah, yeah.
and having similar results and
Hmm.
being
Hmm.
demonized and shut down by the government.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
have one of those books about that. I
You have one of those too.
yeah, I
We're such
alkalize myself.
rebels wanting to be
Yeah.
healthy
Yeah. Go
and
figure.
live.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stories like that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So can we go back to your story? And then so you did your research. You heard about this clinic. They were able to operate out of Mexico.
Yeah, they got shut down. They moved to Mexico. They've been there for decades now.
That's
Uh
incredible. I'm so happy that I know of this so I can
yeah.
help refer people there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I talk about in my book, I have a whole chapter devoted to it to tell people how to do it, how, the number they can call.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
yeah, and in fact, they're selling my book on their website. Because
Oh,
I
isn't that
yeah,
amazing?
I
The
talk about them.
partnership that came out of it.
Yeah, I talk about them prominently in the book. So they're like, okay, yeah, we appreciate your positive story about our clinic, and so we're going to sell your book on our website. So I donated about 50 books to them to sell because they're actually a foundation.
Oh, they are.
They're a nonprofit, so
Hmm.
they're very reasonably priced, and they're not out to make money or gouge people. Their fees are very reasonable. The cost is just to pay for the herbal formulas that they prescribe to people.
Oh, so they don't actually charge for a visit?
Well, yeah, they charge a doctor's visit, but it's something like $30 or $40
Oh,
for the
yeah. Well, it
doctor
is
visit.
Mexico too. So
Yeah,
things
it's
are a little bit
Mexico.
cheaper.
It's run by U.S. people because of who owns the formula.
Right.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, so you started on this path. So that was the
yeah,
direction that you went, and then were you staying down there? Tell me like
No, no,
about your
no.
journey.
No, actually, it's just a 1 day visit. You go in,
Okay.
and if you can either supply your own medical records with blood work and recent scans and all that, which to save you some money, or they'll do this all that for you while you're
Yeah.
there. All in 1 day. There's like maybe 20 people there in a day. They all have
Because
appointments.
they want to measure, they want to have a baseline, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they'll do blood work for you. And of course, they'll charge for these things.
Of course.
They're reasonably priced. They'll do blood work. They'll do an examination with the
Hmm.
doctors. They have a nutritionist there. They have people you can talk to if you're having emotional trouble dealing with your cancer diagnosis. They'll do x-rays. They'll do everything a normal hospital or doctor here in the US would do. Or they'll use your own results that you have from your own doctors, which I've been doing for the last, you know, ever since I've been seeing them. I see them now about once a year. I
Okay.
actually don't see them. I do it over the phone now because they don't need to see me. So it saves me money from to have to not
Yeah.
travel.
Hmm.
Um, so so yeah, that was the one thing that I did.
And then
And
was that once a week? Like how often?
oh no, the formula, it's called the Hoxsey formula. It's a liquid formula. You blend it with a little bit of water, and you take it. I take it 4 times a day. I'm still on it. I'm going to be weaning off of it later this year
Okay.
because I've been cancer free for 6 years. It's a little bit
Oh,
long.
wow. So they still recommend taking it even after
Over
as
a
a
long period.
preventative?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though
Uh-huh.
I've been cancer free for 6 years, I just to be sure I don't want it to come back.
Okay.
I probably could have gotten off of it a long time ago. I've been asking him about it for the last there's several times I called. I said, when can we get off the formula? Because it's a little pricey. It's not you end up paying a couple $100 a month
Yeah.
for the formulas and everything else, which is
Right.
reasonable.
Cheaper than chemo or
Absolutely.
radiation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
even though unfortunately, it's not covered by most medical insurance
Well, I
plans.
would assume so.
Yeah,
Yeah. An herbal, any natural remedy, right?
exactly.
Not covered.
So I do that 4 times a day, and
Okay.
in
And
some
that's
cases,
the same as when you had cancer with when you first started, that you do the same amount and
mhm,
daily. Okay.
mhm. And in some cases, they'll prescribe an additional herbal formula depending on what you have. Like in my case, I had a lung a lung issue, so they provided me with a lung um, herbal formula for lungs, yeah, which supposedly helps reduce mucus and whatever or inflammation, that kind of stuff. So they have other formulas in addition to the Hoxsey formula, and they have really really good doctors. They're all professionally trained and licensed and all that stuff. So and it's a very comfortable environment to go to. It's in a nice neighborhood in Tijuana. If you stay in a bus, if you stay in a hotel in San Diego, one of the recommended hotels, a medical van will take you the morning of your appointment across the border, and you go across really quickly because you go through there's a medical line that you can go through it. And you get,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, so you don't have to wait in line to get
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
the,
my dad lived in San Diego and we used to go to Tijuana all the time. And, I went to school in California. I mean, it was just like no big deal to go to
yeah,
Mexico.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how it is now. I haven't been across the border in a while, but
The lines are really long if you want to cross. Um,
yeah.
but but the
But with the
medical,
medical van,
yeah.
that's really wonderful. They make it easy in case
Mhm.
people don't want to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, it's easy. It's best for US people to stay overnight in San Diego and just take the medical van the next day, and then they bring you back at the end of the day, and you're all done. And
Yeah.
then they'll ship you. They'll either give you your medicines as you leave, or some of them are shipped from the US, depending on what extra formulas you get, and
Yeah.
they'll ship
And
them right
because
there.
herbs are not regulated, they can ship them and that's
Mhm.
legal, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. And so that was that the only aspect of your healing? So you're still a
No.
vegan and or were there other things that you did to help
Yeah.
your healing?
Yeah. There's a second holistic type treatment that I did was called the Budwig diet.
Okay.
And that also learned about. I learned about that from one of the cancer books that I read.
Oh, cool. I've never heard of that either.
Yeah. Oh, really? No, it's very affordable and you can do it at home. There is a Budwig Center, um, based on the but it was all based on Joanna Budwig. She was a scientist back in the early last century, and she was experimenting with flaxseed oil and the properties.
Oh, black seed oil was part of my protocol.
Flaxseed oil, yeah, yeah, flaxseed oil,
Yeah, flax.
yeah,
Oh, I had no, I was saying black seed.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, flaxseed,
I didn't hear you properly.
yeah.
I hear you now. Yeah, flax
So
seed.
the
Okay.
thing is with flaxseed oil, it's really, really rich in omega-3s, which are known for reducing inflammation, chronic inflammation, and so many other.
Okay.
And Johanna Budwig, was experimenting with cancer patients, and she found a mix of flaxseed oil and cottage cheese. When blended together in a certain ratio, it had what it does is it provides oxygenation at the cellular level, which healthy cells love and cancer cells don't like. They don't like oxygenation. And
Oh.
so it would help eliminate cancer cells and make the rest of your cells healthy.
Oh, interesting. Because
Yeah.
that is, I'm not always vegan, but most of the time I try
Mhm.
not to do dairy. So it's just
Yeah.
interesting that they would do
Me
put that
too.
together.
I'm lactose intolerant, but for some reason, if you get probiotic infused cottage cheese, the probiotics, and plus I take enzymes with every meal. The combination of that, I had no issues whatsoever
I
with
see.
cottage cheese,
Interesting.
and the mixing with the flaxseed oil somehow eliminates the reactions that most people would have to the dairy.
I see.
Excuse me, my little chest is still. Um, so yeah, the Budwig diet, they have a center in Malaga, Spain. So this one is still controversial, but not as controversial as the other formula that we were
I
talking.
see. But there's still notice that they're still not in the US.
Yeah, 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 of
They're in
course.
Spain.
Yes.
Okay.
But they have a whole big, huge treatment center in Malaga, Spain, and they do all kinds of things there. I decided not to go there because I couldn't afford it, for one thing.
Okay.
I just want to do just the formula at home because it's so easy
Yeah.
to do. You can buy it at your grocery
By
store.
the
You could
yeah.
actually get the flaxseed oil from Barleans, who's the manufacturer, and
Okay.
tell them you have cancer, and they'll give you a cancer discount, which is almost half the price off the.
Wow, that's a great tip.
Yeah, and you can have it shipped to your home and you save a lot of money. I do that. That's a man that's the Budwig diet is kind of a thing that you want to do for the rest of your life. And so that's my breakfast every day.
Oh, okay. So
I have
it's a
it for breakfast.
lifestyle.
It's a
Okay.
lifestyle. I have it for breakfast every morning, and I will for the rest of my life. It doesn't affect your budget very much because it's just substituting breakfast for
I
something else.
see.
And
But do
so
you have to have that special flax seed oil? Like slurring my words. You have to order it, or can you just get flax seed oil from the grocery store?
Oh yeah, you can get the same formula from the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's just cheaper if you get it from the manufacturer and have it shipped. But you
Oh, got it. Yeah, you're looking
yeah,
at the most cost-effective ways. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, you can get it, of course, you can get it from the grocery store. It'll
Okay.
cost you more, that's all.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And then you get a little hand blender and you blend it and you have it for breakfast every day. And so between those two things, I think that was 90% of my healing process. But there's so many other things. There's getting out in nature, having a positive
Mm.
attitude, prayer can be part of it, meditation, all of that. In fact, I don't know if we have time to go into this, but there's a project called if after writing my book, I found out I wrote my book like 5 years after being cancer free, and it was getting ready to publish, and I discovered a project called the Radical Remission Project. Um,
Yes, I've
yeah.
heard of radical remission. I have that book. Hmm.
Oh, good. Yeah. So it turns out that I have in common with other unlikely cancer survivors. this Kelly Turner, she did this radical remission project, and she interviewed thousands of unlikely cancer survivors over a 10-year period, and was very well researched. I mean, thoroughly, as about as research. I mean, she had a PhD, and she knew what she was doing when she was researching this. And she was talking to people who weren't supposed to survive cancer,
Yeah.
and
That
and
would
she,
be stage 4, like you,
yeah, yeah,
right?
where their doctors like mine said you may as well go home and
Just
die.
give
And
up. You're right.
basically, that's what.
Give up.
And these people all survived against the odds, and she wanted to know what they all had in common. And she found 9 characteristics that they all had in common. And it turns out I had all those characteristics. And so we were talking about diet. One of the radical remission characteristics is radically changing your diet. That's one,
Oh,
and that's emphasizing, a plant-based whole food diet, eliminating sugars and alcohol and red meat, and then
yeah.
focusing instead on organic and nutrient-dense foods. And, this
Hmm.
is something that all survivors had in common is they changed their diet to a really, really healthy diet. And in my case, I added the Budwig diet as
Yeah.
part of my thing. And then taking control of your health. That's another one of the 9 factors. And so it goes on. I don't know if you want to hear the rest of them, but you probably know them. But
Well, I mean, this is about you and your book,
yeah,
so we're
yeah,
not promoting her, Rich, but you already mentioned it. So I was just
yeah,
more focused on you and
yeah,
your journey. But it's just interesting to know that
yeah.
you have those 9 components in common.
Common. Yeah,
Right.
I think it is interesting. And some of the other things I discovered, and I talk about in my book, is eliminating fluoride from your water, from your drinking water.
Mm.
Very important because fluoride is becoming more and more well known. Fluoride is a toxin. It's poisonous. It should not be in our water supply. It causes cancer. And there are some simple things you can do to eliminate fluoride from your drinking water. Just use a simple uh, filter. If you can get
Yeah.
from Amazon, or you can put it under sink thing. You can get a Berkey filter. You can have bottled water delivered to your home. I do all 3 of those things.
Uh-huh.
Eliminating fluoride was another thing I talk about in
Yeah.
what I did.
But like if you go to the dentist, they advocate for fluoride toothpaste
They
and
do.
and fluoride treatments for like for kids, you know?
No, what it does is fluoride not only causes cancer, it dumbs you down. It lowers IQs in children. All kinds of
Ah,
studies have been done on this. There's all kinds of evidence out there. More and more municipalities are starting to eliminate it from their water supplies, which is good. Um, so yeah, water, eliminating fluoride from your water. I also found out from another book, this cancer treatment center in Florida, these doctors recommend removing all of your root canals if you have some, because their belief is that almost always, if you have root canals, and their cancer patients, almost all of their cancer patients had root canals, and when they had them removed, among other treatments that they did, they got well. And so apparently, when you do a root canal, you seal it, it seals in all the bacteria and gunk that's in there, and it starts getting into your blood supply slowly and slowly over the years, and it ruins your health, and it can cause cancer. And so I actually I only had one root canal, and I had one of those. I had it removed just to be safe. I didn't know if that's what caused my cancer, but I wanted to be safe, so I removed
yeah.
that. Um, what else did I do?
Wow, that's fascinating. And all these things that you're saying that you did were not part of my healing. So it's just
Interesting.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, diet was radically changing my diet. I was keto before. I was
Oh yeah.
meat and cheese, not
Uh,
not very many veggies, but lots of meat and cheese.
yeah.
I was
Oh
that kind of keto, more of a carnivore uh diet.
well, for some people that's fine. It's
Yeah.
each person's got a different body situation, and
Yeah, I mean, I looked great, I felt great, everything seemed fine. I didn't have any symptoms, but regardless, it's fine.
Well,
Um,
was yours stage 4 cancer?
cervical cancer, no, I was not stage four, stage one.
Well, still, it's
Hmm.
you still beat it, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I caught it early. So that's good. But I don't know. I have such a different opinion about cancer. I will just say it was my teacher and it
Hmm.
was a blessing. And I'm healthier now than I've ever been. And it, I don't know, it just made me look at life differently and appreciate it more, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally changed my life upside down, and I had to reevaluate all kinds of things.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And put yourself first and everything. And so what about your, did you ever do any energy healing on yourself or go to energy healers?
No, I did not, but having been a Reiki master,
Hmm.
I did a lot of visualizations and
Okay.
just no understanding how energy healing works. I think I subconsciously did it on myself. I
Yeah.
would,
Through that visualization, you had that
yeah,
intent.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
would visualize pure healing energy coming through my body, which is, I guess you could say, is a form of Reiki, or just energy healing in general. And I just felt like the universe wasn't finished with me. God wasn't finished with me, and it wasn't my time. And so, together with all the things I did, my positive outlook and staying positive and focusing on living instead of dying, just it's kind of like manifestation.
Yeah.
You you manifest what you think about. And if you
That's a
think,
good point.
yeah, if you're
And
thinking about dying, then you're going to die. But if you think about living, then you'll find ways to live.
yeah, that's a good point. So what was the timeline from your first starting treatment to becoming cancer free and in remission?
It was actually it was pretty quick. We did the surgery, then the immunotherapy, and then the first I got the doctors to agree to wait till my next scan before we decided to do anything else. And that was when I already had an appointment set up with the center in Mexico, and I wanted to give that a chance. So I was trying to stall them from putting me on chemo or anything like that. Because even my oncologist told me that chemo is not a cure. He said it's going to do is slow down your death. And in some cases, I've learned in my research that chemo can sometimes cause cancer to spread to other parts of your body. That's
I
controversial.
did read that and radiation and also I heard surgery.
Yeah,
Surgery can do that too.
yeah,
So you're very lucky that
and,
it can release the cancer
mhm.
cells more easily
Yeah,
when,
and who knows? It may have, but what I did maybe just caught it while it was still in its infancy and dissolved.
oh, right.
Which who knows? And we'll never know. All I know is I'm cancer free. So the timeline, I the next scan that came out that showed some sort of concerning thing on my lung, and they weren't sure if it was cancer, but they wanted to monitor it and see if do another scan in 3 months and see if it grew any, and if it was growing, then they were concerned that it would be cancer. But we did another scan in 3 months, and by this time, I was on both the Budwig diet and the Oxy formula and the other herbal formulas. And 3 months later, it had not gotten bigger. It had stayed the same, so that was good. And they said, okay. And I said, "Okay, let's give it another 3 months." I could keep, I didn't want to go on chemo. So I went another 3 months, and it had gotten smaller and it resolved. And so at that point, you could officially say, not officially, but I would say that I was cancer free because there was nothing showing anywhere on the scans in my lungs or anywhere else in my body. And so we went to every 6 months after that, and every 6 months there was nothing to be
Yeah.
concerned about. And so it was pretty much cancer free after maybe a year uh, of my diagnosis. I was cancer free and I stayed cancer free. And my doctors were surprised because I mean, my one doctor told me to get my affairs in order, um, and to live life to the fullest. I asked him, and my husband was there with me. I said, and I was planning retirement. I was still working at the time, but I said I have my retirement money, and I want to know, should I spend it now or should I actually plan to live and live through my retirement years? And he said, if I were you, I would spend it now, enjoy life while you can, because while you're still healthy.
But
And
you
I'm glad I
didn't.
didn't. I'm glad I didn't follow his advice because then I wouldn't be able to be comfortable in my retirement right now. Yeah, so they told me to get my affairs in order. I only had less than 10 months to live, but none of that was correct, thank God.
Well, thank God. And it's wonderful that you wrote a book about it, that you wrote a book about your journey to help others.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I
I
learned
thought,
so much today, and I'm really glad I got to interview you, considering your own journey and my journey. It's been such a pleasure connecting with you and hearing about your book, Death Can Wait, How I Beat Stage 4 Cancer Naturally. And I'll put your website and how to order your book in the show notes. But thanks for being on the Zen Success Show, William.
my pleasure. It's great talking to you.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey. And join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.